We're here in the town of Pound Ridge, right at the intersection, major roadways of Pound Ridge, to talk about the work that has to be done and is in the process of being done to improve our infrastructure, particularly our roads. We've just been through, we hope, almost through, a winter season that tore up our roads and tore up our cars and our rims, our tires and our rims. And so Westchester County and the towns and the state all have a responsibility to try to make these roads proper and passable for all of our residents. We appreciate very much being here at this location. Anthony Spinella is the local businessman. Anthony Spinella is the local businessman who owns this service station, and aside from being the only key gas along this route, if you didn't put enough gas in your car passing through this area, he fixes flats, and there's quite a few of them around here. And I think as people look at government, what do they expect us to do? They expect us to do the basics well. And one of those basics is to make sure that the road infrastructure, as well as other things, bridges and so forth, are kept in proper condition. It is very difficult to fix them in the heart of the wintertime because of the weather conditions, the snow and the ice and the thaw factor. But as we approach spring, it feels like spring today. We have a challenge in the county government and other local governments to tackle this, to tackle it efficiently, and we want to make sure that you know that we're committed to doing that. This area is the area in the Westchester County Legislature that's represented by Kitley Koval, who couldn't be with us today. She had a family need to be outside of the area today, but she does have staff representation here, and she's represented by a colleague in the Westchester County Legislature, the Honorable Mary Jane Shimsky, who, in addition to being a county legislator in the Hastings, Ardsley, Dobbs Ferry area, is head of the Board of Legislators Infrastructure Committee, so she deals with these issues on a macro basis around the county. Our Director of Operations is with us, Joan McDonald. She is the person responsible for the day-to-day operations of the county government, which includes all of these different operating departments, for which DPW, Transportation are part of it. And our Commissioner of DPW, Hugh Grecian, is with us here, and they're both going to be able to speak in a few seconds. And we're joined by the town supervisor of the town of Pound Ridge, Kevin Hansen, who has been doing a terrific job on the town level and has been a very cooperative partner to try to help the county do its share of activities. Rather than me go on in very general ways, I'm going to invite Joan McDonald next to talk very specifically about how the county has changed its procedures on capital projects, try to streamline it to make these projects happen faster. The fact that the Board of Legislature votes for items that are put in the budget and we bond them, that doesn't fix the road. It's getting the capital project through the total process, having the crews out there and actually doing the work that matters. And Joan, who we were able to take on board here in Westchester County after an outstanding career doing many other different things, including State Commissioner of Economic Development for Connecticut and State Commissioner for the Department of Transportation. So we have a terrific expertise in Joan, and she's going to talk a little bit about how she's helped restructure this process, and then I assume she'll ask Hugh Grecian to say a few words afterwards. Joan McDonald, Director of Operations.
Great. Thanks, George. One of the things we're here to talk about today is how we are accelerating the bonding process through the Board of Legislators with the leadership of the Board of Legislators and Legislator Shimsky, who chairs the Infrastructure Committee. When I got here about a year ago, we took a look at how, and we were reminded, George was, of the big backlog of capital projects that we had in the pipeline. And one of the things we did was immediately bring in the Construction Industry Council and Ross Pepe, because it's important to make sure that projects are ready to go to bid in early enough time so that the contractors can be ready to start construction today. You can't start the bidding process today if you want the work to begin in the spring and summer season, which is really our construction envelope is not so big. So one of the things we did this year with the assistance, with the leadership of the county executive and the assistance of the Board of Legislators, was package bond requests. Traditionally, a bond request goes before the Board of Legislators one at a time, And what we did to make sure that we met this construction season was package 6 projects so that we can get the bonding approved through the construction process and get them out the door. The other thing that we've started to do is we've brought some consulting engineering companies on board to assist the DPW and their staff, because it's not just getting the construction started, it's making sure that the design is complete and the construction bid documents are ahead. So it's keeping our eye on the construction season and doing those 2 things, bundling bond projects and bringing additional resources on board through the consulting engineering world to provide design engineering and program management oversight, allows us to get these projects out the door more quickly. Hugh?
Yeah, thank you, Joan. Good afternoon. So what we've done in this particular package that's going to go out in April, we're going to go for authority to advertise, an advertisement in April, coming back in May. We've put together 5 roads for a total of roughly $5 million in bonding, and throughout the county. The one we're standing on now is Long Ridge Road, about a mile down the road. If you drove after the press conference, you'll see there's a number of potholes in the disrepair of the road. This particular section of road was repaved within the last 4 to 5 years, so it's not included in that particular project. So what we've done is, again, just put, and also does, as far as the bidding process goes, it's one bid opening, one award, one contractor, and that way we can get things done this summer, before the school season next year. So we're hitting all these roads right up front. In the interim, we have if you go onto the county website, which is westchestergov.com, go to Public Works, you can report a pothole. You just go to the Public Works page, scroll down, you'll see report a pothole. You can automatically enter the pothole location, and what we'll do is if it's not a county road, we do have a county road map on that particular site, but it's not, we'll help you find the person that you need to talk to about that. So to facilitate that, because it was a very bad season as far as potholes forming goes. We did get a break on the actual snow depths, but the freeze thaw is really what destroys the road. It heated up a lot during the winter, if you remember, then would cool down the next week. So we're trying to move things forward, and like I said, hopefully this summer we'll get most of our roads done. With that, Mary Jane, did you want to say a few words? Or
You, I got it from you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'm going to ask Mary Jane Shimsky to come to the microphone. Her responsibilities as a Board of Legislators in a separate co-equal branch of government is to provide a check and balance on the different proposals that the administration has. We submit to the Board of Legislators in October a capital project plan for the next year, and when that plan is passed as part of the budget with whatever modifications the Board of Legislators make, and they have their authority, and then it comes back to the executive, and we have a host of different procedural things that we can do. In essence, it becomes a policy of what we're going to do. We still have to bond for it, as you said, and then go out to bid and so forth. Mary Jane has become very expert in these areas. Let me just mention, as she comes to the microphone, the recently approved projects, in addition to $1.25 million here on Long Ridge Road in Pound Ridge, there's also packaged $1.8 million for repairs to Westchester Avenue in White Plains, $625,000 for repairs to Orchard Street in White Plains, $275,000 for repairs to Union Avenue in Harrison, $375,000 for repairs to Seven Bridges Road in the town of Newcastle, and $700,000 worth of repairs on Old Sawmill River Road in Mount Pleasant. And as you can gather just by that listing of these particular projects, these particular 6 projects, the scope of the county's responsibilities are infinite. There's county roads from Pelham to Pound Ridge to Peekskill to Portchester, and all of them deserve a certain amount of attention, which is what falls to her head to be able to evaluate on behalf of the Board of Legislators.
Thank you, George. Over the course of a number of years, our backlog of road repairs kept getting bigger and bigger. By the time County Executive Latimer took office, by my back of the napkin calculation, we were probably somewhere between 6 and 8 years behind in road repairs. And of course, when you have the kind of winter we had this past winter with the freeze-thaw cycles that Commissioner Grecian was talking about, we are definitely in bad shape and we need to expedite projects right away. I am so glad that Joe McDonald is on board, and she has brought some innovations to group together projects and to facilitate a quicker process by which we get these projects actually underway and done. And hopefully we'll be able to eat through more of that backlog soon. Thank you.
Now, Russ Pepe is head of the Construction Industry Council for Westchester County. He's involved through his member organizations with construction projects of all sort all across the region, and he's been a very strong advocate for public investment in infrastructure at the county level, at the state level, at the local level. So Ross is very much an important mover and shaker in these things. Ross?
Thank you, and thank you all for being here. This is a wonderful news for not only the construction industry, the jobs, the economy that are strengthened by having a good infrastructure of roads and bridges, but this is good news for the taxpayers and the users of roads throughout Westchester County to know that the county is addressing a badly needed infrastructure improvements. The projects that are being done here are vital to local communities and vital to the interest of many. So I want to thank the county and congratulate you, County Executive Latimer, for initiating the program, Mary Jane Shimsky from the legislature for helping to approve, and the operations from you, Grecian, and Joan McDonald to make sure that this work gets on the street. We're ready to go to work, and we're looking for more, so keep it coming. Thank you.
So I'd like to now bring up Town Supervisor Kevin Hansen, who is here. He's joined by Allison Boak, who's a former member of the town board and recently agreed to serve on our county's Complete Count Census 2020 committee, and we'll have an announcement about that next week. And so Allie, we're appreciative of your volunteerism in that area and her prior service on the town board, and now our current town supervisor, Kevin Hansen.
Yeah, thank you. I just really want to say, first of all, Pound Ridge is very excited to finally get this road paved. I came into office 15 months ago, and the number one message was we have to work on our roads. And so that's been what I've been concentrating on, is trying to make the condition of this road known to the county. And I'm so thrilled now to all of them for finally recognizing the need to get this road cleaned up here. It's a major transportation route, as you see right now. You probably see a lot of people to Connecticut back and forth. It's important for our residents, but it's also important because there's so many bicyclists that use this roads here. And our residents really don't care whether or not it's a county road or a state road or a local road. They just want the roads fixed. And so I can just tell you, they are just going to be thrilled to death when I be able to go back and tell them that Long Ridge Road is now added to the list. Because earlier this month, as you may have heard, we've also got Route 137, the state road, to get paved, and that's going to go all the way from the Bedford line to the New Canaan line down High Ridge Road. So these are important for Pound Ridge because not only for our current residents, but others that come here to look about if do they want to live in this community. They do evaluate us based on our roads. So as they drive through here and they see a bunch of potholes, it doesn't look well if they're looking at trying to move to this area or considering to move to this area. So the better roads that we have, it just makes everything a lot better and makes our community a lot better. So thanks again for George and all of you for recognizing Long Ridge Road. Thank you.
I'm just going to make a few general comments, and we'll open it up to questions from the press for myself or any of us here on these things. I live about, I guess, maybe 15 to 20 miles from here, the city of Rye, and my government experience before becoming county executive involved a number of communities in Westchester County, but not Pound Ridge, and I'd say about 2/3 of the county that I never represented previously. I've often talked about growing up about as far away from here in Westchester County as you can be on the south side of Mount Vernon. This is a big county, and it has complex different issues, and it has complex different realities. But everybody, wherever they live, has a basic expectation that government will provide certain services, that will do it professionally, will do it cost efficiently, and will do it in a timely fashion. And I've taken time in my 15 months, Kevin and I started our respective responsibilities on the same day, to travel to every single corner of this county. Now, I am not the transportation or construction expert. I am not the operations guru that helps drive this, nor do I have the experience that Ross Pepe does. But what I've seen, I've visited every single town board, village board, and city council in this county, and no one's done that previously over my 15 months. And I've traveled these byways, so I may not live in the neighborhood, but I have many times come through this intersection, many times out of gas, hoping that Mr. Spinella would be open, because my next chance I have to make it all the way over to 22 and 172, and you could very easily run out of gas in between. I'm sure that's a local reality for people who live up here. But the point being this, it is certainly true that in parts of this county, people in Westchester County feel they're forgotten. In parts of the south side of Mount Vernon, they feel that nobody's paying attention. And in parts of this part of the county, where they're as far as they are from White Plains, in a beautiful environment, there's a sense that, does the government know we're here? Do they care about us in this area? And the one thing we're trying to do is address these issues systematically in a very low-key fashion. This is a press conference, but not a lot of hoopla attached to it. Do our job, do it every day, do it well. And the procedures that Joan laid out about how we do our basic capital projects, we move these things along because they're necessary projects. This is what we're supposed to be doing for the residents of Westchester County, of the towns and the cities and all across this county, and that's what our commitment is. Erica Pierce, who is here, I failed to introduce her personally, who represents Kitley Koval as Kitley's assistant. She deals in a 6-town area with issues that come out from North Salem and Lewisboro and Bedford and Mount Kisco here in Pound Ridge, part of Somers. And those communities are very different from Mount Vernon, but they have the exact needs that they have. And our responsibility is to address those needs. That's why we're here today, to talk about these improvements. So with that, I'm going to stop talking, open it up to any questions that anyone has. And if you want to talk after we're finished as a group and one-on-one with anybody, you're welcome to do it. Neil.
Do you have a timetable on the projects for White Plains, Mount Pleasant, Newcastle, start and end dates?
Do we know offhand, Hugh or Joan, what the timeframes are on the other projects that are part of this package? These are the listing projects.
Well, the package is going to go out together. So again, it will be with one contractor, and we expect to have that contractor on board sometime in June. We're going to advertise in April, process the contract in May, and by June they should be hitting the road. They're all going to start about the same time. It will be one contractor. Depending on the contractor, it could be multiple crews. But we can provide that schedule when we get it.
Okay.
Sure. I think we also have to keep in mind that depending on the specifics of any of these areas, we may encounter some difficulties that we don't anticipate until the construction begins. So we always tell people that as much as we try to plan these things out with as much specificity as we can, unexpected obstacles may occur, and it may slow down the process of what we're trying to do. Other questions? John?
By improving the process by pooling these jobs, are you expecting to do that again with either road or other capital projects to expedite? From what I remember, Legislator Shimsky, I think you said there was like a $1 billion backlog. My memory serves me right. Are you planning to do this?
Yeah, we plan to do it and on as many like types of projects that we can. And in addition to what Hugh was talking about on the schedule, is it provides the contractor flexibility when he's got 5 or 6 road projects. If something comes up locally, he can redeploy his resources to help to keep the rest of the projects on schedule. So we are planning to do more like this, and we're excited about it.
Just real quick, sorry to interrupt. I just have to back out.
Sure.
Be careful, I have room.
Understood.
Just be cautious of me. Thank you guys.
Okay, thank you for coming. Any other questions from our friends who are with us? Yes.
I know you said maybe it's starting in June. Do you know how long it might take to complete these recently approved projects that were outlined?
Again, our goal is to complete them before the start of school. So you're talking about the end of August. We expect all of the roads to be completed at that point.
And Dan, I would add one thing. Some of these roads are busier than others. So if you look at a Westchester Avenue project in White Plains, there'll be lots of traffic. It's a little harder to divert traffic when you have that kind of volume on a roadway. Making sure there's an appropriate, whether it's a full detour route or one-lane construction, Each of the projects will have a little bit different nuance based on the physical realities of those. And for any of you who may be covering a municipality, Neil, if you're interested in the Seven Bridges Road project as an example, we can give you whatever detail you'd like.
The selection of these projects, were they done by, based on need, and do you have other projects?
Yeah, the prioritization process is what Joan is responsible to assess out in her duties.
Yeah, the true capital planning process, starts, as Mary Jane knows, a couple years in advance, and it's really working with Commissioner Grecian and the folks at DPW, the folks in our budget department, and then through the legislative process is when we took a look at the full universe of capital projects, those that were priorities for health and safety, and then those that were either 100% design or close to 100% design that we could then get out immediately, and then we just keep that rolling process going.
So you're expecting other road projects to be done?
Yep.
Similar?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.